Rúben
But you
Amorim.
put an exclamation point.
Well, I just did that to be fancy.
That's
After the
okay.
Leeds game, which I was planning on talking about, he came out and said that he was the manager of Manchester United, not the head coach. And that would result in him getting sacked in the morning. And because you two are actually, I think, the polar opposite of rival fans when it comes to Rúben Amorim. Grant, you think he's a melon, and this was way overdue. And Mila, you've been kind of preaching that he deserves more time and that United should give him more time because of just the project in general. I even went
Yeah.
back to follow the Ten Hag thing. I went back to our last episode where we had a United manager get sacked, and it was along the same boat from both of you guys,
Yeah.
which is
It's the
very
same.
funny.
It's the same. It has nothing to do, I think, with the managers at all for me. And it has everything to do with the managers for Grant. So I think that's where the big discrepancy in that is coming from. But for me, it's that the fact that the biggest complaint is that United has lost this culture. And obviously, Amorim had his issues where he'd piss off the fans, academy, all of his press conferences and stuff. But with him and with Ten Hag, it seemed like they were both heavily trying to build a culture, and maybe not the United culture, but a culture at the club. And if that's the goal, you can't do that when you have a new manager every year and a half. It's it's virtually impossible to build anything, any culture. You're always going one step forward, three steps back, not even two, because you're getting players for the manager, and then you're firing halfway through a season. Then you got to get rid of that last players, that last manager's players, have them at the new players come in, adapt to the new system, fire that manager. It's a vicious cycle. And as a City fan, long may it rain. You guys can continue doing this for however long. But just from a footy standpoint, when we're just talking about footy from a non-biased point of view, I think it's just foolish to keep operating like this, regardless of maybe you're just waiting for the right manager to come around. There's not many examples of that in world football right now. So yeah, I know we're gonna talk about who they may get, but I think the same thing applies for me. Is that you have to let them build, you have to let them have their way with the team, or it's just I saw someone say that they should just have ChatGPT run the club, and at this point, you might as well.
Yeah. All right, Grant, the opposite side of the coin here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's long overdue. 100% correct. I think it's somehow how did they sack him and it's still shambolic? Like he's getting sacked because he talked bad about his boss, not because of the form. And I think that's what would scare me. If I were a United fan, I would almost be upset that he got sacked now of all times. I think they should have left him in Bilbao after that final. I think he could have gotten sacked long before that. I think the Grisby game was sackable. I think the Everton loss at home with 10 men was sackable. But I mean, yeah, they're not in the best run of form right now. He's had much worse runs of form as the Man United manager. So to sack him because he spoke out, especially after seeing what just happened with Chelsea, they're in completely different spots, the two clubs, but they're being run a very same way where it's you need to follow these exact rules, exact guidelines if you want to be the head coach here, not the manager. And I don't think a lot of top level managers, like we always talk about these proven guys, none of them will want to walk into that. Like my first thought would be like a Maresca, oh, it's a great manager. Why would he go to this situation after what just went down, right? So I think that's where the real questions start to come because, yeah, I don't think Amram was a great manager at all. I think just off eye test and just watching them, how they play, yeah, this isn't going to work. But I do agree with Mila in principle of you can't build anything like this because each manager that leaves isn't leaving with something that you can keep and move to the next manager, the next group. They're leaving the team worse each time a new manager comes in. It gets left in a worse state. So I think that's really where it lies in terms of you can't build anything. It's because each manager is taking things away. They're not building anything. So it's really hard to build when you keep bringing in bad managers. And I think that accountability should be held by the guys who are hiring these managers or head coaches, as we should say. It's an important distinction.
It is an important distinction. I have fallen in between both of you in terms of this argument. I think since we've started it as well, we've been all very consistent with our ideologies when it's come to managers and getting sacked. And for this one in particular, I fall somewhere in the middle. It's sour and it's annoying as a United fan. I hate the chop and change. I wanted to see a manager get time. I wanted to see Ten Hag get time. I really don't care as long as United win. And the issue that I keep coming back to is they're not doing the things that winning clubs do. They just keep tripping and falling and hitting their self in the face with the rake over and over again. And like you said, Grant, like they could have sacked him at any time. And I actually think that this is where I fault Amorim, because out of all of the managers of recent note to get backed, he's been backed the most heavily. I know it wasn't with transfer money, but in terms of public perception, Ratcliffe came out and said stuff. There was no leaks during his whole tenure. And because they didn't get Antoine Semenyo because he went to Manchester City, which is a better project at a better time, which he openly admitted to changing his formation for, which is a whole nother thing to this. He was unwilling to change his formation for anyone. He said the Pope. And then Antoine Semenyo comes into the picture and he's like, yeah, I'll go to the 4-3-3. That's horseshit, dog. Like, if you weren't willing to change for anyone, then don't say because you got one player because United were going to spend more money on a project you have no standing on. He was on a soapbox, right? That had cracks everywhere. His record's awful. We've strung together multiple wins one time in his tenure. So you can't openly go against the people that have backed you the most standing on those records, because they've backed him more than any other manager publicly I think I've ever seen at the club. That's what's annoying. And it's annoying because I think I had the same argument when we were in January of last year with Ten Hag, which is like, hey, this is a really bad time to do this because, one, nobody's going to take this job. Two, if you're putting someone in this job, it's the worst time to do it. Should you have waited till the summer? Should you have done it in the summer? Yeah. Now what do? You've got half a season to go right the fucking ship when United need Champions League or at least Europe pretty desperately. And all this did was confirm two things. One, the manager's wrong. Two, the board is wrong. And three, United fans and the club are going to get fucked because they're not spending any money because they don't have a manager to spend the money towards. We talked about how Pep Guardiola spent $200 million in January and how United should do something similar, right? To back something. They can't back anything if Darren Fletcher is the interim manager to the interim manager. There's no plan. There was never a plan. He spoke out, which is bad on him because he knew what the repercussions were. We saw it with Nuno. We saw it with Enzo, and he did it a week later. We knew what was happening. I saw the quotes, and I was like, he's gone. I made a thumbnail. The thumbnail that's on this video, I made that yesterday. I made that literally on Sunday night because I knew it was over. And it's a joke. It's a joke.